On the night when the palace of Devgar was illuminated for the grand wedding of Raghav and Mira, no one noticed that the shadows were longer than usual and the air carried a suffocating silence, because Mira, dressed as a bride with crimson lehenga and heavy gold ornaments, was not the innocent woman everyone believed her to be, but centuries-old Chudail-bound blood rituals, cursed mirrors, and the evil eye that fed on human happiness. And as the doll beats echoed through marble corridors, the spirits trapped within the palace walls began to awaken, whispering warnings through flickering lamps and trembling veils. Yet the guests laughed, drank, and danced, unaware that every smile was being counted, every heartbeat measured, because the moment the bride crossed the palace threshold, the curse would be complete. And as Raghav lifted Mira's veil, he saw her eyes briefly turn pitch black, veins crawling like serpents beneath her blue-tinged skin, a sight he dismissed as fear until the first scream shattered the celebration when a guest collapsed, blood pouring from his eyes, and slowly panic spread as mirrors cracked, shadows detached from bodies, and the bride began to walk barefoot to the palace, leaving burning footprints, her laughter echoing unnaturally, revealing that the marriage was never meant to unite two souls, but to sacrifice an entire bloodline, because centuries ago this palace had betrayed a woman burned alive on her wedding night, and she returned as a Dulhan of death, reborn again and again through possession, and as doors sealed themselves and the palace transformed into a living hell, Raghav uncovered forbidden scriptures hidden behind temple walls, learning that the evil eye could only be broken if the groom willingly sacrificed his own soul before the bride completed her final ritual at dawn, while Mira's true form emerged, skin turning blue, mouth stretching impossibly wide, ornaments fusing into her flesh, eyes dripping, blood as she hunted guests one by one, dragging them into darkness. And as spirits of previous victims screamed to the halls, Raghav confronted the Dulhan and the Mandip with a fire burned black, realizing she was both monster and victim, cursed by betrayal and rage. And in the final moments before sunrise, as the palace collapsed into shadows and the evil eye stared directly into his soul, Raghav chose to step into the fire, breaking the cycle, causing the bride to scream in agony as her form dissolved into ash. Yet as morning light touched the ruins, villagers found the palace empty, except for a single bridal veil hanging in the wind. And years later, whenever a wedding procession passes Devgar at night, people swear they see a blue-skinned bride watching silently, waiting for the next groom, proving that some curses never truly die. Even after Raghav's sacrifice, the veil of darkness over Devgar refused to lift. The villagers whispered that the palace's foundations had drunk more than just fire that night. They had absorbed fear, blood, and betrayal, and the wind carried a faint scent of charred flesh mixed with jasmine. Travelers passing the ruins reported hearing faint wedding music, the sound of dolls and gungras, but when they approached, the notes twisted into guttural screams. Lamps in nearby fields would flicker in response to passing shadows, and reflections in puddles or water vessels showed fleeting glimpses of a blue-skinned bride standing behind them, her wide, blood-dripping eyes piercing the soul. Children spoke of dolls that whispered warnings in the dead of night, and mirrors in homes developed cracks without cause, as though the palace itself was reaching outward. Scholars who dared study Devgar spoke of a cyclical curse, a rhythm of life and death bound to the lunar calendar, where every 100 years the Dulhan of death would rise again, searching for a groom to complete her ritual. Even those who never believed in spirits felt the weight of her gaze, and became a fearful rite of passage. Weddings in the vicinity were delayed, grooms hesitant, brides uneasy, for no one could ignore the lingering essence of Mira, proving that in Devgar, the past never truly sleeps. It waits,